Hello everyone, Mrs. Pierce here. I just wanted to make this little video to remind you how to convert between fraction, decimal, and percents. Okay, so let me go over this really quickly. You can at any time pause me and rewind it if you need to copy anything down. Okay, this should be a review for you, so that's why I'm just going to go really quick. If you still have questions, please ask me or ask your teacher. So percent, right here, cent means 100. So a lot of the things that we do are going to be out of 100. Let's start by going from a decimal to a percent. So if I have a number in decimal form, for example, 0.6, and my teacher asked me to convert it into percent form, I'm going to need to multiply that number times 100. Or the way that we multiply by 100, the quick and easy way, since our decimal system goes by tens, is I can move it 2 places to the right. So in this case, I would need to add a 0 since I only had 1 digit to go around, and then my final answer would be 60, and I'm going to add the percent symbol. Really quick, another example. Let's say I just had 5, and my teacher says put that into percent form. Well, some people might say, but you know what, that's not a decimal. It is in decimal form. We just didn't have to have the decimal because it's a whole number. So now if I go to move that 2 places to the right, I'm going to need to add 2 zeros, and that's going to be a whopping 500%. So just because you have a whole number doesn't mean it's not in decimal form. So decimal to a percent, multiply by 100, or move my decimal 2 places to the right. All right, let's go from percent to decimal now. So if I'm going from percent to decimal, I'm going to do the opposite. So starting with a percent, let's say I had 17%. First thing I'm going to do is take away the percent symbol, and then I'm going to either divide by 100 or move my decimal 2 places to the left. Notice I started at the right since it was a whole number. That's where my decimal starts. So this 17% in decimal form would be 0.17. Another example really quickly, let's say I had 5%. Again, 5 is a whole number. I'm going to get rid of my percent symbol. My decimal goes to the far right, and then when I go 2 places to the left, I need to add 1 0. So 5% in decimal form is 0.05. All right, moving right along, let's go from a fraction into a decimal. So from a fraction into a decimal, we are simply going to divide. So fraction to a decimal, I'm going to take the top number divided by, that's division there, the bottom number. So if I had a fraction such as 1/8, and I go to divide it, I could either take a calculator and do 1 divided by 8, it must be in that order. That would give me 0.125. If I was going to do it by hand, the numerator goes underneath, so that shows 1 divided by 8. I would need a decimal point, and I could add some zeros, and I could solve it that way. So fraction into decimal form, I'm going to just divide. Top divided by bottom, bam, there's my decimal. Going the opposite there, if I want to go from decimal form into fraction form, I need to know something about place value. So if I had a number in decimal form, such as 0.12, what I need to know is that the last digit is in the hundredths place. So there's my denominator. My numerator is just all the digits that are after the decimal. It's that simple. You just have to know place value. Now, because 12 and 100, 4 goes into both of them, I should simplify. And 4 goes into 12 3 times, 4 goes into 125 times. So 0.12 is the same as 3/25. Another example really quick. If I had, let's just say 0.8. 8 is in my tenths place. And the digits after the decimal is just 8. That simplifies to 4/5. Okay? So decimal to fraction, I'm going to write that up top here. Decimal to fraction, I need to know place value. And I'm just going to say that. We need to know our place value. And then you can go back and write whatever you need to write. Okay? All right, I've got two more things to talk about. And one is going from a fraction to a percent. I'll be honest, most of the times a fraction to a percent, I convert it to a decimal. So I take my fraction, convert it into decimal form, and then I go that way. So that's why this isn't a circle. You don't always have to go one way. So fraction to a percent, I personally would just divide it, top divided by bottom, to get my decimal, and then move my decimal 2 places to the right. However, sometimes, like if I had 4 25ths, for example, I know, you might know, but not know, but I know that 25 times 4 is 100, and 4 times 4 is 100, and percent means out of 100, so that would be 16%. So sometimes you can save yourself a little bit of time. If you know the denominator goes into 100, then we can just multiply the numerator to get our percent. All right, last, we need to convert the percent into a fraction, and this is actually one of the more easy things to do because fraction, remember, or sorry, percent, remember, means it's out of 100. So if I had like 20%, well, that is just 20 out of 100. And then I would simplify it. So you should always simplify. 20 actually goes into both 20 and 100, and so that would end up being 1/5. If I had a percent such as 115%, well, it's still 115 out of 100, and notice that's going to be a mixed number. So that would be 1 and 1500ths. And then I would still need to go through and simplify that. Okay, so percent to a fraction, it's out of 100. And then simplify. Okay, so let's try some. All right, so let's do some problems. If I were you, I would pause this right now and see if you can fill out this chart. I know it might seem annoying and it would be more work to do, but if you want to know if you know how to do it, that's the best way to do it. So pause it now, go ahead and try to see if you can get all these right, and then unpause it and you can listen to me explain how to do it. I am going to go fast to try to save some time here, so follow along, pause if you need to. 7/8 into a decimal, I need to divide 7 divided by 8, and I get 0.875. Okay, again, I need to actually divide. And then changing it to a percent, I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right, giving me 87.5%. All right, next one. 4/10, 0.4. I actually just said the fraction because my 4 is in the tenths place. So that is 4/10. I'm going to simplify that, and when I simplify that, I get 2/5. Converting 4/10 into a percent, I'm moving it 2 places to the right. I need to add a 0 in there, so that would be 40%. Okay, 6% into decimal form. I'm going to move it 2 places to the left, adding a 0 in there because I need it. That would leave me with 0.06. And then as a fraction, the 6 is in the hundredths place, so that would be 6/100ths. And if I simplify that, that would be 3/50ths. 120%, notice this is more than 100%. My decimal's to the far right, because it's a whole number. Moving it to the left is going to give me more than 1 whole, so that would be 1.20. Now technically, I don't really need that extra 0, because 1.20 is the same exact thing as 1.2. Now 2 is in my tenths place, so when I go to make this one a fraction, it's going to be a mixed number because I've got a whole number and decimals, if you know anything about place value. So that would be 1 whole, and then 2 is in my tenths place. Now that can be simplified again, so that would be 1 and 1/5. 2/3, I'm going to use my calculator and do 2 divided by 3, and when I do that, I get 0.6 repeating. And then changing that into a percent, oh, by the way, so 0.6 repeating, Some teachers are okay with that, but if they want you to round it, I would round it to 0.67. Changing it to a percent, moving my decimal 2 places to the right. If I want to be exact, it is 66.6 repeating percent, or if I round it, 67%. Okay, hopefully you did well. If you have questions, ask your teacher.